And I'm speaking with Tim McKay in this shot, kind of joking around how we were dancing to stay warm. But all the volunteers from Landmark Credit Union were just fantastic helpers today. We had, I think, 3 separate vehicles come up with dozens of coats. So we filled those bins basically in the last hour of this event. Shout out to a gentleman named Jesse, who was from Alternative Communications and then partnered with Holtz Motors, I believe is what it is. Over 120 coats he dropped off today.
Amazing.
And there were 2 other people like that as well. So we had a really good time. I mean, it was slow at times, which is totally fine, but we filled those bins still, and we're so incredibly grateful for our viewers.
Roscoe had fur, so he was warm. The Landmark Credit Union, what's his name, Blinky?
Blinky.
I thought I heard you say Blinky, yeah. I'm not sure how warm
I don't think he was
this time of year.
I don't think he was very comfortable. Good sports, though, that's for sure.
Right. Well, hold that up again. How many of the hot warmers you got there?
So I had 2. I had 1 in each shoe. I put them under my toes.
Oh, that's the way to go.
Not until halfway through, though, so I was a little late on that.
I used to put my skates when I coached.
3 extras.
Yeah.
Some of these are actually still very warm.
There you go. The chemical reaction lasts a long time. So happy to have you back.
Yes.
We didn't get any snow today, and of course we've been cleaning up the snow, but there are some people in Vernon that they say they want to see some faster response times. We got a lot of people contacting Fox 6 asking why the DPW trucks were not out on the streets. Well, it turns out there were multiple problems with the roads for the crews. The Village of Vernon Public Works Director, Brett Bartles, did not really want to speak on camera yesterday, but he did say there were 9 separate times that a DPW truck broke down or got stuck, which then led to streets taking a lot longer to get cleared. A shortage of truck drivers is also slowing down operations. He says DPW only has 2 employees instead of the usual 5, so they're pretty understaffed there. They've been trying to add an on-call driver, but so far nobody has applied for the job that's posted, so there's a gig if somebody wants it out there. Don Anderson lives in Vernon. He says it was nearly a day and a half till he got his street cleared.
Usually they'll come through and treat the road. The trucks were out. No one saw them.
There you go. All right, well, village officials and the village board will review the response, of course, in the village of Vernon. We definitely see, obviously, some need there for, a couple of problems. You obviously got trucks that are breaking down, so there's some issues there. And then you've got, a need for bodies as well.
Yeah, and this was such an early season snow that we haven't seen in the past couple of years. So, maybe a little delay from that as well. But now we know winter is here. So, again, if you're looking for a gig.
That's right. And folks have got their winter lights up, but the winter weather was trying to dim those holiday lights in East Troy. Volunteers, though, they are not backing down.
Yeah, winds and heavy snow destroyed setups ahead of Santa's arrival this weekend.
Oh, look at that.
I know, that is hard to see. Last week's wind blew over the light tunnel and then nearly took out the igloo.
Oh, geez.
Volunteers worked quickly to rebuild before another storm, but the weekend snow covered power boxes, lights, and the standing area for thousands of people. So now they're digging it all out.
We had to replace stuff that broke, pieces from the tunnel, lights that went out. Half of our tree is out. So we're fighting against that clock to get all these lights in place, get all the rest of our stuff up.
The creators are taking donations for damaged lights and equipment from the storm. To donate or learn more about the light schedule, we have a link on our Fox Local app. Looks beautiful.
It does look really pretty when it's up. Hopefully they get it back into working order. All right, well, the weekend snowstorm and the one earlier, of course, in November were influenced by Lake Michigan, of course. Chief Meteorologist Tom Wachs has more on what that lake does to our storms.
Well, let's talk more about this Panhandle Hook snowstorm that we had last weekend with really monster snowfall across the area as this area of low pressure came in from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, rolled right over Chicago, keeping us in the heaviest swath of snow. So this is from the National Weather Service showing you the snow totals. Again, you may have a little higher or a little lower in terms of snow totals here from this system, but in most areas, 8 to 12 inches, coming in pretty much as forecast here. But what I want to talk about is the lake influence, because what's so interesting here is lake waters have been around 40 degrees, so still very much on the warm side. Our winds were generally out of the southeast out of this system, helping to bring in that lake moisture, but also we didn't have, well, we had some lake enhancement, as it's called. So lake influence, some heavier bands. What do you notice here? Right along the lakeshore, we had some lower totals in a few spots. That's because of the warmer lake, some warmer temperatures, and some much wetter snow. So a few degrees made all the difference between the heavy wet snow and some fluffier snows farther inland. So this was not a standard lake enhanced heavy band type setup because we didn't have the huge northeasterly winds for the duration of this event. There were other factors at play. Yes, it was a warm lake, but that actually led to some lower totals in a few areas. We did have some of that lake moisture that did provide a few heavier totals in a few spots, even a bit farther inland, which was very interesting. But I've had some questions on social media of if this is a lake enhanced storm system, why wouldn't we be getting more monster totals along the lakeshore? And the answer to that is twofold. Number one, you really need a steady fetch out of the northeast off the lake for that. And number two, the warmer lake waters, because we didn't have that steady northeast fetch, led to actually a little bit warming and more compacting with the snow with those wetter snow totals.
There you go.
Yep.
So when someone says, does the lake cause more snow or less snow? The answer is yes.
Yes.
It really depends on the scenario. So well done. Good explainer there for sure. We're not alone. Northeast is experiencing their first real wintry blast of the season, affecting millions of Americans up and down the old I-94 corridor, 95 corridor that is. Some towns could see up to 8 inches of snow in that area or more.
People get alarmed for the storm because they can't travel that well because the roads could be all icy and treacherous for other people.
As we said, millions affected by that. Really good point that gentleman makes. It's very challenging. Of course, a highly densely populated part of the country. The National Weather Service is expecting the greatest travel impacts for their commute home. The National Weather Service says there could be an inch of snow per hour. That storm is really going strong there. I'm sure Steph will have a little look at that in a bit as well. On average, that area gets a few inches of snow by mid-November. So this time around, it's a few weeks late. But overall, businesses there are open. People are still going about their day-to-day. And they're, of course, ready for more snow this winter.
There you go. I think everybody had such a wimpy winter last year that it's, kind of exciting to have some.
Even if we just have an average winter, it's going to feel like a tough winter because we haven't had an average winter in 2 or 3 winters for sure. This morning did have some pretty stuff, though.
Gorgeous. Take a look at this picture. This was sent in from one of our viewers, Kim in Menominee Falls. Gorgeous. So this is what we call a sundog and a halo. The halo would be the full circle, so you don't fully get it in this picture, but the 2 rainbows on each side of the sun, considered a sundog. And this happens when we have those ice crystals and some of those high, thinner clouds, which I think this morning we kind of had some lower clouds at times, but it still was enough to create just a beautiful
and
scene.
The pictures keep coming in, and you can kind of make out the halo on that.
Towards the top for sure.
Our label has kind of covered the top of the circle, but there are some others that are like pulled back a little bit. You can see almost the full circle until it hits the horizon there. So an upside to the cold for sure. We'll continue cold. That's definitely in our forecast, and of course the Northeast still getting blasted by snow. Let's kick off our regional outlook.
Let's take a look at what we've got here. Let me pause this so it doesn't keep going back and forth on you. But we like to show this. This shows you where all the systems are. So we just call this a systems map. And we have a warm front out towards the west of us. How about that? It will allow temperatures here locally to warm a little bit tomorrow, briefly, but it will be nice to potentially get to about 30 tomorrow, maybe in the afternoon. Now, with that system out towards the west, there is some snow, even it looks like maybe a bit of wintry mix across parts of the Dakotas. And then you see that really messy system up and down the east coast with the heaviest snow right now across New England states. Now, we here locally, at least in southern Wisconsin, did see some light snow yesterday evening and too early this morning. That has since ended, but take a look at, you just know there's a lot of moisture in this storm system. New York down into the Carolinas dealing with some heavy rain right along the coast. And again, you can see that snow setting up from New York all the way up to Maine. So especially across some of those New England states. And there are both winter weather advisories as well as winter storm warnings for that potential of some heavy snowfall, high snowfall rates. It's going to be a little bit messy, but hey, good for winter tourism right across those New England states. Also see separate pockets out towards the west of various winter weather advisories thanks to some of the unsettled weather out there as well. It does not compare to the amount of snow that areas out east will likely experience throughout today and throughout tomorrow. Now closer to home, Wisconsin right now just stuck under the cloud cover, but we did have some fog in some spots this morning, freezing fog at that, so it did create a few issues. We've got some flurries across northern Minnesota, soon to be northwestern Wisconsin, more snow and wintry mix across South Dakota, and then points towards the southwest. Now as we see that storm system out west getting closer to us tonight and tomorrow, it will likely keep in a chance for a few light snow showers or flurries from time to time on Wednesday, but we're not really expecting much in the way of accumulation with that next storm. Now the rest of today, northern Wisconsin will see some flurries and light snow, but everybody else towards the south will remain dry. Then you can see tomorrow morning a few light snow showers or again flurries pass their way on through. So keep that in mind for your morning commute. We may still have some light snow in the vicinity, but again, we're not really expecting much, if any, accumulation with it. And then it'll move out throughout the afternoon. Will dry out pretty much the second half of Wednesday. Still some cloud cover from time to time, but that'll be a cold front moving through. So later Wednesday, and then especially into Thursday, we are going to feel a big drop in temperatures. In fact, Thursday morning, we're going to have wind chills potentially in the teens below zero, and that's in southern Wisconsin. So we've got a big chill on the way. Again, with anything we see on Wednesday, it will be fairly light, maybe a couple tenths of an inch of accumulation at best. We're going to hang on tight to our 20s today. It is cold across the state of Wisconsin. We're going to briefly warm up tomorrow, but then just know it's going to be even colder come Thursday behind that system. You'll notice forecast highs closer to that warm front out west are in the 30s and even 40s across portions of North Platte, Nebraska, that is. So today we're looking at 20s, but we're still going to feel like teens because of that slight breeze. Tomorrow midday will likely climb into the 30s, but then the second half of Wednesday, temperatures are going to begin to drop and we're really going to start to feel those colder wind chills. Thursday, high temperature only in the teens, and we will likely feel wind chills below zero all throughout the day. So a pretty big change in temperatures as we get to Thursday. In fact, you can see that is by far the coldest day, over 20 degrees below average. We level out a little bit more heading into the weekend, with those upper 20s back in our forecast. Now, when it comes to December stats, the cold that we have even into the weekend, well below our seasonal average. So the normal high for the first of the month at least is in the low 40s, and we'll gradually see it dropping into the 30s, but that's not until the end of the month. So we have got some chilly, unseasonably chilly air on the way.
We're cold for even late December.
Yes.
But not coldest ever. Look at that, 1880.
I know, incredible,
record
right?
low temperature, negative 13.
And average snow over 10 inches during the month of December.
There you go. So we're, in some cases, we're actually fairly average because like this, I've had a lot of people say, what's with all the snow so early? And it's like, it's not really that early. Thanksgiving was late, so I think mentally we think it's earlier than it actually is. And B, we just really haven't had normal winters in a while. So like we were saying off the top, a normal winter is going to feel pretty rough. All right, well, with this cold comes ice, but don't go out on it. Some quick thinking firefighters in northern Minnesota saved a deer that fell through the ice. So if it won't support a deer, it's not going to support you. The department there shared video of the weekend rescue on Facebook. Crews were called into the nearby lake when the deer fell through and became trapped in the water. Firefighters used ropes to carefully pull the animal to safety, and once they got it on solid ground, the deer shook it off and sprinted back into the woods without any injuries.
Thankfully. And gun deer hunting season is over. Some hunters are taking their success from the field over to local food pantries. The Hunt for the Hungry program at Paul's Pantry in Green Bay allows hunters to donate venison for people in need. Organizers say this year's efforts are especially important.
This year, a lot of attention being given to challenges with food insecurities in communities, and it'd be a great year to harvest that additional antlerless deer for sharing venison with those that can't hunt or don't hunt. Craig.
All right, so the program says it helps feed thousands of families in northeast Wisconsin. So a nice more good people doing good things.
Yeah, it's awesome. It feels like almost, throwbacky,
Yeah,
like
agreed.
the hunters going out to get food for the village and things like that. And it's a great way, for everybody to be helped because the deer population gets controlled.
Right.
Obviously, the hunters get to do what they do best, and the people who need it get it.
Yeah.
So all good things.
Win-win.
And, hopefully that will kind of trickle down, if you will, and make for some wonderful holiday meals.
Yes.
Maybe some venison jerky. Who knows what they're going to be working on. We'll be working on a couple of commercials, and then we'll have some more weather stuff that we've been working on all day for you in just a couple minutes. Oh, look, some sunshine.
Beautiful.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Well, with Thanksgiving behind us now, Christmas tree farms are gearing up for a busy season. You can attest to that.
Yes,
You were just
they
at one.
I was.
This weekend. I love it. Well, one Wisconsin farm celebrated a special milestone as it opened its doors for the season. Fox's David Go has the story from Nina.
Well, this is a special year because this is our 50th season of selling Christmas trees.
Across 50 years, Schrader's Forever Greens has sold thousands of trees, some landing in some pretty high places.
Outside the governor's conference room so the general public could see it. And we've taken a tree to the White House.
You heard that right, the White House, like where the president lives. That was back in 2011. And this year, at least one tree will make a cross-country trip, but in the other direction.
Obviously, these are much more fresh and look more beautiful than what we can buy back in Colorado. So really fun to pick out the right one for our home.
Their tree headed back to Fort Collins, Colorado. But of the dozens on display on Friday, most will land in modest homes in the Fox Valley, like for Paul Benoit, who brought his 3 young kids to help pick out a tree.
You know, we'll point them in the right direction and get something decent.
Buying a real Christmas tree, even if his kids may be too young to fully appreciate it.
This one over here. And I think it's just more of a family activity, I suppose, rather than pulling something out of a storage closet. Make an activity out of it.
Here at Schrader's, its owners say the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving tend to be 2 of the busiest days of the season. Get that first choice of the tree, and also this year, get it before the winter storm hits this weekend.
With the impending weather, it's hard to say.
Depending on the snowstorm that's coming, we may head out tonight or tomorrow after Thanksgiving with the family, start heading back to Colorado.
Impacted by the weather or not, it was a packed yard Friday to continue family traditions.
We put trees in lots and lots of houses over the 50 years.
In Nina, David Go, Fox 11 News.
Love it.
I love
That
it.
makes me
You
happy.
know, I had my first tree. We talked about it
I
yesterday.
know, so proud.
and it smells so good. I wake up this morning. I'm a little nervous. Again, Steph's been helping me out with some of the tips and tricks of how to take care of it, but you know, it's a good thing. We live and we learn, right?
Exactly.
All right, well, it's an iconic twist for Monday as Snowplow Driver Application Day, Appreciation Day, and not Application Day. I'm sure you could still apply if you want. They need help.
Please do.
But it's going to be Snowplow Driver Appreciation Day in Wisconsin. I know you don't have to go out and snowplow. I'm going to totally mess up this story.
No,
okay,
you're
so
good.
no,
You're good.
you don't have to go out and get your snowplow driver a gift or anything. The day is to honor the men and women who work the day and night hours to clear the roads during and after the snow. It's also a day to remind drivers when they see a plow to slow down and, of course, give them more space to allow snowplow drivers to safely do their jobs.
Kind of ironic that we just had a big snow, and it is Snowplow Appreciation Day.
I love it. I mean, what better way just to even thank them? I see little kids who think it's the coolest job, but they probably don't get appreciated as much as they need to be.
I know. Well, we are very thankful for all of the snowplow drivers in
Absolutely.
the Milwaukee area, up north, out west. You all are incredible.
Thank you.
All right, live look outside right now at the Milwaukee airport. Looking pretty good at this point. We have just a little bit more coming up on Wisconsin weather experts. Stay with us.
Well, welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Of course, we've been talking about snow, getting in the holiday spirit, and what better way to do that than at a special location here in Wisconsin.
Yes, our very own Brian Cramp was at Country Christmas at the Ingleside Hotel. This is such a tradition now that you can drive through, see the beautiful lights display. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. And Fox 6 is a proud sponsor as well.
There we
try
go.
to get out to Pewaukee. Check that out.
And this Thanksgiving, you might have had Wisconsin favorite table or dish on your table, cranberry sauce. And in Wisconsin, cranberries are king, of course. Our Madison affiliates are bringing you a story about how a familiar face went from politics to produce.
A sweet red retirement.
Beautiful marshes, aren't they?
Former Governor Tommy Thompson is knee-deep in a new venture, the business of bogs.
Cranberry growing is just plain exciting.
From hybrid berries to your classic Stevens, the 84-year-old and his team does it all.
Greatest part is just being out here in the fresh air, Wisconsin weather, seeing things grow, blossom.
His family's farming roots rest in nearby Elroy, but it's Oakdale, where he spends most fall mornings on the marsh during harvest season. Thompson is the longest-serving governor in Wisconsin history, from 1987 to 2001. He'd then go on to serve as the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services under President George W. Bush. After a life of public service, the lane change begs the question, why cranberries?
You know, it's part of Wisconsin, like football, like baseball, like the University of Wisconsin.
He'd like to expand by another 20 acres. And we're like, Tommy, this is a slow process.
3 years ago, Thompson embarked on the new trade alongside LCO Cranberries, LLC.
Tommy is a blast.
15 bogs ready for blooms.
There are a lot of days he shows up at the crack of dawn with the rest of the crew.
The former governor now a champion for the state's sweet billion-dollar industry.
He loves being involved in it.
Raking in this year's harvest of bright red berries.
It's a healthy food. It's a food that everybody should enjoy.
A new perspective.
Not only at Thanksgiving, but year-round.
From farm to table. In Monroe County.
I like it tart.
Phoebe Murray.
Absolutely. Don't you?
WMTV 15 News.
And it definitely is tart. We were just talking about that. Most times dishes need a little extra sugar, but what a cool transition for him. And that's a big part of our state. We're one of the top cranberry producers in the country.
Which is just so fascinating. If you're Door County cherries, we have cranberries, we have dairy.
Everything. Best cheese.
Everything. Wisconsin's the place to be, everybody.
Really is great.
And all weather dependent. So we're thankful everything is cooperating for farmers and hope it continues to do so as well. Thanks for staying with us for another episode of Wisconsin Weather Experts. We will see you right back here tomorrow on Fox Local at noon.